All right, welcome to SLCC Live for April 22nd, 2020. I'm your host, Denny Jokic. Along with me here is my beautiful co-host, Zachary Western. You want
Oh,
to talk to
hello.
the people?
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here. Thank you, Denny.
We have Alison on news, weather, and traffic, and our producer is Portia. So, you know, with the quarantine, people have been starting up a bunch of hobbies. How you been doing,
Uh,
hobby-wise?
I it's tricky because I personally have had a lot of work to do still. I'm still luckily and thankfully working full time. So I haven't had to shift too much. That said, as we've talked about in previous episodes this week, I've obviously spent a lot of time watching TV, like a lot of time watching Netflix. So much so that I'm like starting to pivot and shift to like what I'm watching instead of watching like whatever Community or The Office or something. The other night I was watching Alfred Hitchcock Presents, like the old school black and white Alfred Hitchcock TV show, which came on right after the Twilight Zone. So I'm I'm clearly kind of because I feel like we're living in the Twilight Zone right now, so it just felt appropriate.
Yeah, man, I don't even know what's going on. I started watching Hannibal on Amazon Video. That
Okay.
show's is it's a little weird. Don't watch it if you're hungry because you lose your appetite like real quick.
Ooh.
Other than that, like I think I've mentioned it once. I don't know if it was SLCC Live, but I've been playing with fire. I know that's not like the safest thing, right?
Okay.
But lighters are cool, like they just do cool things
From
like ignite, and that's about it.
hearing
But other
about
than that, like I've I've, I've started reading. I haven't read a book in like 12 years, so that's pretty like interesting to be back in reading. And
that's fantastic. I haven't picked that up just yet. I think because I've been still doing schoolwork, but I do have a friend. His name's Brady Wilkinson. He actually started writing as well, and I'm like, that's kind of a fun idea.
yeah, writing sounds fun. Like during these types of times.
Yeah,
What types of story does he tell you? What types of stories he writes?
actually, he he's had a heck of a time. Basically, he started writing. He told me he started writing like a fan fiction, and then scrapped it, and then started writing a YA novel, and then kind of scrapped it. And now he's working on something else. So just all over the place, which is cool.
When I started building models, like model robots instead of cars or robots are sick. I like robots.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Uh, what do you miss most about like being able to go outside, like outside hobbies? Like
Um,
hanging out with friends, hiking.
so for me, I basically have like four things that are kind of at the top of my list that I desperately want to do once this is all said and done. One of them is I want to eat out, man. I just want to go and sit down in a restaurant. It's simple, but I will so appreciate it when it finally comes back.
It's a joy of life.
Yeah. I also I want to go like just to see like a live show or something, see a concert, theater, whatever. I just want to see something live, right? I'm kind of tired of looking at screens. And then
Yeah, yeah.
I want to go to a baseball game, and then I just want to like hug so many people. So that's on my what I want to do list. None of them are necessarily hobby based, but that's just what I want to do. I also got some comments. So I put it out to my Facebook, and I wanted to get some comments of what my friends were saying. So what they said they started doing was um, playing. I have a friend who said he's playing teleconference bingo, which
Ooh.
he's basically wait. He has a list of things that people do on these types of for those of you who are watching the Facebook Live, the things that we're doing on the Zoom, but also I've got a friend Roger who is started brewing more of his own beer, which is pretty cool. Um, I have a bunch of friends who are picking up baking again, including my sister-in-law Brittany, and then I have a friend named Vu who started picking up the ukulele. and started playing that. So there's lots of cool things that people can do. I look at that list and go, maybe there are some things that I could stand to pick up and do more of.
Yeah, you know what you'll like until you like do it, you know? Like ukulele, that sounds like a fun instrument to play.
Yeah, especially because he says, I started learning how to play it. It's very relaxing to do. It gives me some me time to get away from work, having to homeschool the kids. Um, that's so it's just kind of fun and relaxed. And so I'm like, I picked that one. That is a good thing.
I miss the human interaction of like going outside. Like I can talk to friends like via Zoom, Discord, things like that, right? But I also have Comcast, so I never know when that'll fail on me. Thank you, Comcast. So like I just want to go out, hang out with friends. I miss like sitting in shotgun and playing music. That was my favorite thing to do. But like watching a movie, I haven't watched a movie in so long.
Yeah,
Like
like properly, be with people. It's just not the same watching it at home, alone or whatever. Going actually to the movies or whatever sounds
yeah,
great.
like the cost of hobbies is like usually like there's like its own separate budget, you know, like it's like savings ish, right? So you spend like a small amount on like hobbies. What are your most expensive hobbies?
Um, for those of you who are looking at the Facebook, you can see my most expensive hobby. That's something that I've really gotten into during the quarantine is like my audio equipment and my live stream setup, because I'm having to do it more and I have access to some of the technology, and so I've started beefing up my live stream setup to improving my microphones, improving my cameras, and that's been fun but not cheap. $60 here, $100 there, and it's like, bye bye stimulus check.
And then there's some people that aren't even like getting their stimulus because they got claimed. Shout out
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is
parents
with that.
for college students.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So,
I
but
think
yeah,
the most
that's
expensive hobby that like I have are the robots that I mentioned, because they can cost up the robot models, because they can cost upwards of $500. And I was browsing Amazon and I saw that, and I'm wondering like why are these plastic figurines upwards of $500?
yeah.
It doesn't make
It's
much sense.
I feel like
Yeah,
specialized
like
hobbies are where it starts to get super expensive. So there's things that you can do that are, much more relaxed and cheap, and
yeah,
things like people have made a hobby of mask making, where they just like take spare fabric and make face coverings for people. And not only is it like wholesome because you're able to give to other people, you're able to protect yourself and those around you, but also, it's kind of fun and you can get creative with it, not super expensive. I really need one of those hobbies that are cheaper.
there's no reason for hobbies to be expensive, but that's how they make their money. And I can't blame people for chasing a bag, you know.
Right.
Hiking is also like a thing that can cost a lot of money, but it's also like it can be cheaper.
Yeah.
Hiking is pretty cool.
That's true. I mean, and right now it's interesting because we're trying so hard to socially distance, but so many people are itching to get out. And so it's like things like that are getting a little crowded, but also spaced out, which is how I've wanted it as long as it's existed. So I'm
Yeah,
fine with that.
yeah. So speaking more about hiking, you know, for hiking you need like good weather, and Utah has like problems with weather. So how about we switch over to Allison and see what our weather looks like today?
All right. So we're going to start with a little bit of news before we get to weather. The West Jordan Police Department has been reported that Albert Johnson, the person of interest in a double homicide, has been taken into custody. The department says that Johnson was arrested early Wednesday morning near Sacramento, California. West Jordan PD named Johnson as the person of interest in the murder of Tony and Catherine Butterfield, who were found dead in their West Jordan home early Saturday morning. The department said that Johnson was known to the Butterfields and that this was a targeted act of violence. Johnson's wife, Sina, was booked in the Salt Lake County Jail on Monday night on felony charges of obstruction of justice and tampering with evidence. In some SLCC news, this is a little bit of a transition. Summer semester is about to start, and to encourage students to enroll for summer, SLCC has waived any of the normal online fees, and they have also made it so that if you are out of state, you only pay in-state tuition. They're really trying to encourage students to register for summer classes. So they are incentivizing it that way. So if you have not registered yet for summer, please do. All classes will be online though. So let me check out, sorry, I have to find the traffic. Traffic, I think, is pretty clear, you know, with most people, a lot of people telecommuting right now. There's not a ton of people out on the road, especially this time of day. So traffic's pretty clear right now. And let's see, weather is also really beautiful right now. When you are stuck not being able to go to work or school or your normal places, you are still able to get outside. So you should. Right now it's 55 degrees with a few clouds out there, and our high today is going to be 67. So that is it from me. Back to Zack and Denny.
Up next, we continue discussing how to navigate quarantine without getting absolutely crazy. We share tips and tricks on how you can stay sane too. So, you know, with quarantine, it's been hard seeing friends, family. What has been the hardest about that for you, Zack?
I think it's been really just the fact that so one of my friends was he hit it on the head. He says one of the things I miss is I miss avoiding people without reason and having to cancel plans. And so I realized how many times like I have, oh man, nah, I can't go out because I got a thing. And now I'm like looking back going, I should have never had a thing. I should have never pretended to have a reason because now I just want to hang out with people. I think that one of the things that this has really opened my eyes to is how important actual in-person, physical, social interaction is for me. So making sure that I am having conversations with people in person, looking them in the eyes. It's just, you know, we try with our technology, but there's just nothing that can replace that. That's been hard for me. You know, I really find myself being, I'm more of an extrovert than I thought, which, you know, if you've seen this, people who know me are like, what are you talking about? Like, no, I really like my alone time, but I need people more than I thought.
Yeah, I feel that sentiment. I miss being able to hang out in large crowds with my friends and do things that could possibly harm my life, like skateboard down a hill. You know,
Yeah.
I miss the simple joys of life.
Yeah.
Like give me the adrenaline. So what have you been doing to the ability not to see people?
Yeah. So for me, I'm going to, or I basically I'm doing, you know, some Zoom chats. I've had multiple game nights with people, different groups of people. So we jump on Zoom and we play games. Heads Up. I don't know if you've ever played that, or you have like basically charades on the screen, which is weird because then you can't look at your own screen, but whatever. But then yeah, there's just been, you know, on basically you just jump on and maybe you play a quick game and then you just stay after and talk. And that's been at least something, you know, and it always feels like a little bit of rejuvenation for the soul.
Yeah, right.
Just because at the very least you're having a conversation. You know, I find myself anymore, I really don't like to text as much because I don't, when I have normal social physical interaction with people, then I don't mind texting them. But now that I don't get that, I'm more apt to like do a video chat with somebody. And that helps me a little bit more to feel connected to people, which is, you know, it is what it is. We do what we can.
Yeah. My friends have been, he has like a D&D group. So he's been like setting up like Zoom meeting or kind of like Zoom meeting. I don't know if he's using Zoom or FaceTime.
Sure.
But like he's using that to like do the D&D. I've never played D&D, so I'm quite knowledgeable in what I'm talking about. But like it's cool that like technology allows us to stay somewhat normal, I
Yeah.
guess is the word. Like I've been texting people less, so I've been calling them up more. I
Yeah.
don't like having FaceTime because I don't know what I look like. Like sometimes I just tie my hair up and whatever happens happens. Other days I just want to look nice. It does something.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good call. I'm just like literally talking to people is just and anymore. I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to actually talk to somebody because you want to check on people, you want to make sure they're okay, but you also just want to shoot the breeze. Like small talk means more than it did for me than it before.
Yeah, and with constantly being on social media, phones, internet, like it does have an effect on like mental health. So like, have you noticed anything about mental health wise?
Honestly, yeah, I really have. I especially when this really first started, the first couple weeks, I was not doing very well personally. I had a lot of I had a lot of anxiousness about it, a lot of unsurety as most of us did and probably still do. I mean, I think that things are starting to level out now, but yeah, I mean, I really found myself kind of taking it hard because you feel helpless. You're like, this thing is beyond any one person. This is global, and I want to do everything I can to help people, but I can't.
Mm.
I can't fix anything, and that kind of weighed on me in a weird way early on. So I've had to kind of give myself these little pep talks of just do everything you can, and go. I'm off being an essential employee and making sure that people get their electronics. Is what I do for work, but also making sure that I keep my distance, that I wear my face covering outside, and so basically I'm making sure that I have done everything in my power so I can kind of curb that mental that thing in my head just telling me like you need to do something about this.
Yeah, yeah. It didn't help like during the first like beginning while this coronavirus was like building up to become like what it is now. The media like didn't do much to uh, ease the people's tension. Like
Yeah.
they escalated the tension people like built, and like there are a lot of things that I've had to cancel like because of the coronavirus.
Sure.
Like, are there any things that you've canceled?
So sort of. One of them is the events have been my work, and so I have lost work from it. So in my spare time, I've been an event and wedding DJ, and so like a host MC type, not like a DJ mixing music DJ because I'm not there yet. But I like to host events. I like to help people, start off their marriage or have a fun dance party with like a elementary school group or whatever. And now that that's all gone, it's affected me financially, but I didn't realize how much of a fun thing it was. So because everyone's having to cancel their weddings or change their plans, I've been affected that way. But
Yeah.
I've had at least two friends on my Facebook timeline who have had living room weddings. They were planning their big wedding, and they're like, frankly, we're realizing what's most important is that we start this part of our relationship, and we'll have a party when all is well again. So let's just put on a nice dress and stand in mom's living room and snap a few pictures and get married. So that's been, I mean, I've appreciated that honestly because that's a cool perspective.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Like people like getting married like then and there and not having like the big.
It almost puts in perspective like what's important, right? Like, is the big party important, or is being with our closest group of people under 10 and just having the ability to start that next phase of our relationship. So that's pretty cool. I've been happy to see that.
Like a lot of events have been canceled as well,
Yep.
like concerts. And there's supposed to be a Hive festival
Yeah.
happening at like the fairgrounds this summer, I believe. But like if this keeps up, like we're not
yeah, it's been difficult to see all of that's especially as the weather's getting good, like all of the music festivals or concerts or just even like farmers markets. It's you see these simple things that are canceled, um, or put on hold, and you just hope that the hold isn't too long. But again, like for the greater good, we understand we need to take the time, but man, you just you want the things that kind of gave you sanity before to come back.
Absolutely.
But then
Absolutely.
you have to basically start anew. I think one of the big things that I've tried to do is have a routine. Establish like this is what I do every day. Have a schedule. Make sure we stick to it. Um, and it almost provides that structure that I feel like a lot of our lives are not having right now. So even if I don't really have anything going one day, like I still want to get up at the same time and like get ready for the day and like
Right.
get the hair all tall and do what I would do on a normal day.
Yeah,
Just so
to make you feel normal.
yeah, absolutely. Helps that. It helps my brain get in the right place.
Yeah, helps the sanity, remain sane. Helps you not like freak
Exactly.
out. It's good. But with like having so many routes, like you never know what's gonna happen like in the news. So why don't we pass it over to Allison and find out what happens in the news?
You have like the best transition to the news, Denny. I love them. I have to say, like the routine thing too. Just have to comment. I think that's what's like helped me stay sane too. So I think that's definitely good news. But let's see. Here's some kind of not great news to start with, and then I'll switch to the better news. So the CDC chief says there could be a second, possibly worse, coronavirus outbreak this winter. A second coronavirus outbreak could emerge this winter in conjunction with flu season to make an even more dire health crisis. Director Robert Redfield said Tuesday in the Washington Post. He said there's a possibility that the assault of the virus on our nation next winter will actually be even more difficult than the one we just went through. So, yeah, it's good that we're establishing these routines. We might unfortunately have to stick with them longer. But in more positive coronavirus news, according to KSL News Radio, 483 billion, oh my goodness, coronavirus aid package flew through the Senate on Tuesday after Congress and the White House reached a deal to replenish a small business payroll fund and provide a new money for hospitals and testing. The passage was swift and unanimous despite opposition from conservative Republicans. President Donald Trump tweeted his support, pledging to sign it into law. It now goes to the House with votes set for Thursday. And Trump said that he urges the House to pass the bill. And after nearly 2 weeks of negotiation and deadlock, Congress and the White House reached an agreement Tuesday on the nearly $500 billion package. I could say the 500 right for some reason. The fourth as Washington strains to respond to the health and economic crisis. Let's see. For traffic, sorry, I got to find my traffic window. Traffic is still completely clear out there, but there is some construction going on. So in the I-15 technology corridor, there is some construction, so you might want to be careful there. And then on I-15 southbound, Salt Lake County between SR 201 and 123 south, there is some construction there. So be sure and watch for that. As we said earlier, the weather is beautiful. Today, we have plenty of sun and warm temperatures, but a storm is moving in tonight. Showers likely after midnight, and then more showers and cooler tomorrow. But it will clear out by Friday and stays warm and cool. And that is it. Back to you guys with the show.
I can't believe that we're getting a coronavirus too before we get a Space Jam. I hate it here, man. I hate it here.
Priorities.
So the quarantine, like because of the quarantine, I have more free time than I usually do. I was a full-time student.
Oh, Denny, did we lose you? Bingo if you're playing at home. You back, Denny?
I'm back. All right.
Oh.
Thank you, Comcast. Anywho, I always I struggled before with like keeping up with work because like, I have to juggle a few things.
Yeah.
But now even worse because I don't know what day it is anymore, and I don't know when things are due, and now I'm just lacking behind on everything. So like, how have you been doing? Like education?
Oh, just terribly. Like exactly the same. Like, I've had to work. I've had to work full time, and I've had to work more, and a lot of it's cut into my available school time. And so, when when you don't know what day it is, you don't know what's due. You don't know. I have to wake up every morning and go. And lately, I've like this past week, I've had to miss classes, but I've had to think like, what class do I have today? What Zoom do I log in or WebEx do I log into today?
Yeah.
And it's been tough. It's been tough. If we had started this way, like I have a lot more hope for the summer semester, just because it's starting off that way.
Yeah.
That's the established norm. But where it's been a shift, and not to mention everything else that's happening, it's been tricky.
Yeah. Like especially with finals coming up, like finals are right around the corner, and now like a lot of classes are gonna have finals online. Like my math finals online. So, are you afraid of any finals that are coming up for you?
Just projects. Just I've had, because we're on my end of it, we're in like the more production side of things, and I'm nervous about completing the projects and making sure that like I have the tools to do it and can do it effectively and efficiently. And because that's what's so nice about being on campus at Slick is like we have access to all these tools. And
Mm-hmm.
so now that we're having to kind of make do, that's been tricky. It's my only worry. What about you? I will say though, as far as like what, and I've said this before, so I'll give a plug to Alison, but we've had really good success with like the transition, and it's gone as well as it could. And also, I got my tie-dye shirt on. But we've had good success with transitioning over to this model, and she's made it really good. So props to Allison. Hopefully she's listening right now, and I can. I'm not sucking up, guys. I'm still doing poorly in her class, but I will say it
Yeah.
is it has been as seamless as possible. So like pretty much everybody in the comm department, it's like they're doing what they can. And that's the
Yeah.
thing, like the teachers are put in this position too, to have to adjust. And so I will say I think that my instructors have been Allison and Matt Merkel and Scott from the radio class, like they've been really accommodating, which is really easing a lot of the burden for me.
Yeah, I agree. Allison and Merkel. Shout out both Allison and Merkel because like I'm doing pretty okay in both their classes because they're so like understanding in this like situation. Like my math class, cool guy. I can't do math. Like isolated. Like it's hard to focus. It's hard to learn now that I'm like, I have so many things around me instead of
Right.
just like a school setting. How's your like focus been when it comes to like learning on your online classes?
Honestly, it's been tricky because there's like you think about the necessities, right? You have to, if you have a job, you have to work, right? You still got to pay your bills. So I spent a lot of time working on that side of it because it's really unsure right now. So putting that focus on school has been really, really tricky. The very nice thing is I really like what I'm doing. Like I love what I have a chance to do in school. So when I can put my focus on it, at least it's extremely enjoyable.
All right, yeah. If that joy wasn't there, this would be like significantly worse in all
Yeah.
aspects.
Like if I had to do your math class, like I would just not, I would, nope.
Yeah, no, I could barely like I would be sitting there taking notes for 1 minute, and then like I'm downstairs making a sandwich the next. I don't know what happens during the 30 seconds that like I zone out, but apparently I'm making a sandwich like during those 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's just there has to be like an easier way to transition
Yeah.
like from like these hands-on classes like
Yeah.
Are there any ways that you think could like help transition to that?
Honestly, just doing as much as you can, with the tools that you have. If you're doing, like, if it's a video class, like, we all have pretty solid cameras in our pockets most of the time. So, go out and shoot some video on your phone and find a creative way to get it done, to do something. I have, with my live streaming stuff, I've tried to challenge myself a little bit more and kind of turned it into a learning experience. If I go, technically speaking, right now we are getting hands-on experience because every radio station, every news organization, nightly talk shows are transitioning to this format. And so technically
Yeah.
we are learning what the media is doing right now. So that's been kind of nice.
In another like light of the situation, there have been like groups that have been like reuniting and to like talk to the people about like how it'll get better through like Zoom, like meetings, I guess. Like Charlie
Yeah.
CXC, she's been holding like Zoom meetings with all her fans, like and she just posted on Twitter, like, come join, and that's pretty cool to me. And
Yeah.
then there's like the name Big Time Rush, if that rings any bells. There was a show on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
And like they reunite.
Oh, that's cool. Our producer Portia just chimed in and says she definitely agrees on the Big Time Rush comment. So that's great. I will say here's a call out to our Facebook Live right now. Our own Professor Mac Merkel is, for many of us, he's making some comments and saying, and he's asking, is anyone having a video call overload? And I am 100% there. Like, I'm having as much fun as I can. Basically, I've got my my proper like Sony mirrorless camera as a webcam, just to entertain myself on having to be on so many of these video calls. So yes, Merkel, I'm totally I'm totally over Zoom calls, but we do what we can. Better than nothing.
Merkel's pretty good at like the Zoom call thing. He only like calls when it's needed. So like, yeah, he's doing a good job of that. Shout out Merkel again,
Yeah.
But also shout out Comcast for being absolute garbage and not allowing me to get my classes done correctly. Thank you, Comcast. I appreciate your services greatly. Anywho, coming up, experiencing the existential crisis with us as we participate in a thrilling game of Would You Rather. Which one of us do you think is a sociopath?
All right, are you guys ready to play?
Welcome back, Portia. Yes, very ready to play. I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We are, you know what, I have to tell you, the one thing I get a little jealous of that I don't usually get to do is the Would You Rather, so I'm pretty thrilled about
Are you going to play?
Yeah.
Yay!
Everyone, don't I get to play?
Yeah.
All right, these are really good ones. I spent a lot of time doing this. So you guys better.
Is that sarcasm? Are you saying that because you didn't?
No, I did. These ones are
Okay,
the
good.
deepest ones we for sure ever had. So get ready. All right. So the first one, we're going to start out slow. Would you rather be reincarnated as a fly or just cease to exist after you die?
Wait,
Wow.
what did you say you're going to start out with? Like the most heavy question ever?
This is
That's an
hard
easy
hitting.
question.
That's easy. We're in for a
Yeah.
treat.
Yeah, I was going to say, oh my gosh. I
I-
guess a fly in theory. I don't know. I actually have a pretty big fear of death.
Yeah, I think I'd get reincarnated as a fly because, like, if I get reincarnated and become a fly, and if I die again, I'll eventually get reincarnated as something hopefully bigger than a fly. So I think that's slightly promising.
They do eat poop and only live for like 3 days at a time, but yeah.
Like a lot of friends I have. I think, as much as flying around seems like it would be really cool, I think I'm just gonna take the dirt nap on this one. I don't want fly time. I've seen Jeff Goldblum's movie. I don't need to deal with that.
Perfect. I didn't mean to write another one about death, but would you rather die next week with no regrets or die in 50 years with many regrets?
Oh, no regrets.
No regrets. Yeah.
No regrets.
Yeah, I have to say no regrets too. Again, you're on this topic that gives me anxiety, Portia, but that is part of my anxiety is that I'm gonna be old and just be like, oh my gosh, I wasted my life. So yeah, no regrets.
Yeah, that's a good one. Would you rather go to jail for 10 years for something you didn't do or get away with something horrible you did do, but always live in fear of being caught?
Ooh. Well, jeez.
The deeps.
This is
I
what
don't
I'm
want to look
thinking
over my
about.
shoulder.
Oh, like how horrible is horrible?
Like Grand Theft Auto. That's pretty bad.
Grand Theft Auto, yeah, that's fine. I'll take that easy.
I'm constantly living with anxiety, so it doesn't matter for me.
Well, I was gonna say that too, because the idea of like, I want to get away with it, that's cool. But then I just started like going through my mind a little bit about like what the horrible thing could be, and so I think I'll go to jail. Yeah, I don't need that guilt.
Okay. The next one's good. Let your parents access your browsing history or your boss.
Oh no. Probably my boss, because most of my browser history is asking how to do things, and I want my boss to see that I am inquisitive.
I would say my parents, because my parents are a little bit older, and they wouldn't know what anything in my browsing history was. They'd just be like, what is Zoom? Oh, so
Yeah.
that'd be fine.
Yeah, I'd probably say my parents because they can barely read English, so I think I'd be fine.
Yeah, my parents know I'm weird, so they would expect something. Okay, would you rather only be able to conceive quintuplets or be infertile?
Bro, what?
Yep, that's the option.
Jeez. Quintuplets,
Ugh.
I guess.
As
Oh.
a proud parent, infertile all the way.
Yes, I guess I have no children, so I guess that's where I'm coming from.
5 all at once. That's a lot.
I'll take infertile. I'll take that.
This took a
Okay.
turn.
If you were in a horror movie situation, would you rather have a loaded gun or a car that you knew would not break down?
The car breakdowns are where it gets sketchy. So I want a reliable vehicle. I'll figure it out. I'll mow down some zombies with my car.
For sure.
Yeah, I'd agree too. I want to be able to, I don't know. I'm a runner, not a killer, that's for sure. So, yeah.
Yeah, just get away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a pacifist. Like, I don't want to do too much harm with a firearm. You know,
Yeah.
so I'll take the car.
We've got. I'm gonna just pause here for a second. Merkel's playing along on our Facebook Live, and he's going with the loaded gun. I can jack a good car with a gun. He says.
He's right. He's absolutely
That's
right.
strategy.
I changed my answer.
He's definitely going to prison too, so. Okay, the next one is, if you were an Uber driver, would you rather have Jason Voorhees get in your backseat or Freddy Krueger?
I'll take Jason because he talks to us.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's
Okay.
a good point. Actually, Freddy Krueger does kind of talk a lot if you actually kind of think about it. But I think Freddy, because, I don't know, I'm going through this in my mind. It would mean I'm asleep because Freddy only attacks you in your dreams, so I'm probably going to crash my car anyway. So maybe Freddy will wake me up and I won't crash. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to be with Freddy Krueger. I'll figure out Jason.
I have like an irrational fear, like when I get in my car in the dark, of like, I always turn the lights on so I can see in the back seat. So like thinking about seeing something in my rearview mirror is literally the most terrifying thing I could possibly think of. Okay.
Oh, Merkel's taking Freddy.
Of course. Would you rather know when you're going to die or how you're going to die?
Okay, I'm gonna jump in here. I took a class down at UVU. It was an interpersonal communications class, and I had a teacher who submitted that there was a right answer to this question, like scientifically speaking, and he never gave it to us. So we had to discuss. We basically spent the entire semester discussing what the right answer was, and we came up to there's no right answer. So I guess when.
Yeah.
I'd rather know how, because I could probably maybe kind of prevent it if I know how.
I would rather know how, because if I know when, then I'm just gonna spend all the time dwelling on like how to not like waste my life until then, and I probably would still manage to waste my life. So I'm going with how.
Yeah. Well, if you know how, then like say if it's a car accident, you don't want to get into a car ever. Or if it's like drowning, you'll never swim again. But if it's like going to be in 50 years, then it doesn't matter, you know?
Then I just know, okay, my assignment for my life is due, and then I'll just procrastinate something still.
Exactly. See, that's what I would do too. And then all of a sudden, the day before, I'd be like, "Oh no, I forgot to do all the things I
Shoot.
meant to do."
I am not going to sing that stupid song about living like you're dying, though. Never once.
True. Okay, the next one's kind of fun. Would you rather be able
Thank goodness.
Sorry, I didn't pick any. Would you rather be able to only listen to music from Pitbull or no music at all?
Just hit me with a car, dude. Like,
Mr. Worldwide.
come on, man.
Pitbull or nothing was it? Okay.
I'll take Pitbull. I'll take Pitbull because better than nothing, man.
Do I have to listen to
Barely.
people like all the time, or just whenever I want music?
Whenever you want music.
I have honestly could not tell you what Pitbull music sounds like at all. I have no idea. So I'm gonna go out on a ledge and say, sure, I'll take Pitbull.
Hang on, follow-up question. Is it Pitbull with features or just Pitbull singles?
It can have features.
Okay, yeah, I'll take Pitbull.
You'd probably develop a Coke addiction, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coca-Cola, right? Family friendly.
It is family friendly. All right. So would you rather create history or erase any given part of it?
Does my student loan debt count as something that I can erase from my history?
Yeah.
I would rather make history.
Yeah.
If I could choose what part to erase, I would maybe erase it, because
Yeah, you can choose what part you want to erase.
that most recent election, maybe.
Oh, bringing it.
Well, because like, what could you create history-wise that would like outweigh like slavery or the Holocaust?
Godzilla too.
That's history. You are Godzilla. Okay. This is the last one. I don't know what's up with me and the death, but I gotta chill. If you were murdered, stay back as a ghost and haunt the person who killed you, or simply go to heaven, if it exists.
Okay, so one more time. What was it?
If you were murdered, stay back as a ghost and haunt the person who killed you, or simply just go to heaven. Like if you had the option to stay back and spook them forever.
If
So
heaven
it's a free
exists,
pass into heaven?
if heaven exists, I'll go to heaven. I don't need to taunt someone. If there's no
Yeah.
heaven, though, all the way I'd stay back and haunt them.
Yeah.
I would haunt. Like, eat it. I'm gonna make.
They would eventually die. So
Yeah.
He'll eventually die. But when he dies, like, what do you do? Like, what happens when he dies? Do you just like stay and find the next target? Are you like a ghost hitman?
haunt their children. Forever.
I've been haunting him for generations.
I'm watching the new season of American Horror Story, so I feel like that's like why all these questions turned out the way they did. So I'm sorry, but that is it for our Would You Rather today.
Wow. I'm gonna give you an applause. Thank you for that. That was fun.
Yeah, of course.
Existential, but fun.
No, if I were to die, I think I'd want it to have it. I think I think I'd want it to be on like a good day, but like not knowing the weather, who knows what could happen. So I would pass it over to Alison to see what her weather's like.
I love it.
Denny with the segues.
Sorry, had to get my mic up
That's
there.
what I do.
Oh my gosh, now I gotta figure out where I am. So weather is continuing to be nice. I'll go ahead and start with that this time since that's where Denny tossed me to. If I can find it, that is. Oh, there's my weather. Okay, so like we already said, it's good today. It's gonna stay warm on, we're gonna have some showers and then stay warm, but then it's gonna get much warmer by Saturday and Sunday. Our warmest day of the year so far is set for Sunday. With highs in the middle 70s. I honestly was looking at that and being like, oh my gosh, it's going to be summer, which, so we're going to go very rapidly from spring like it's supposed to be into summer over the weekend with some highs, like I said, clear up into the 70s. I'm going to do this backwards then. So now I'm going to do traffic. It's still completely clear out there as it usually is this time of day. So nothing to worry about there. There's one incident. Let me see if I can figure out where this is. Clear out on SR 201 at milepost 11, and it's got low impact though, less than 5 minutes delay, so nothing to really worry about too much there. And then to end it with our news for today, I'm going to stick with some SLCC news if I can find it here. One of the things that SLCC has done in the wake of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic is offering flexibility in the grading policy for the spring 2020 semester. Students will have the choice of either keeping their traditional letter grade or electing to change to a pass withdrawal grade. It's not an all or nothing decision. You can choose per class which way you want to go with it. They do recommend highly that you talk to an advisor before you decide to do this though, because switching to a withdrawal could affect your financial aid or veterans benefits. But as long as you get a C or higher in the course, you can choose to switch it to a P. If you fail, you can switch it to a W, and you have until the end of May, I think May 31st, to make that decision. And then in other SLCC COVID-19 news, SLCC has established an emergency assistance fund for students in need. For up to $750, Students in Crisis Fund is intended to support students who are suffering financial emergency on a first come, first served basis. If you would like to request funds or donate, visit slcc.edu. Development and Alumni is where you can find more information out about that fund. And I actually do believe, sorry, this is news, I should be totally sure, but I'm not, that the first round of money for that is gone, but they are still, like I said, raising more money for it, so you can still go and apply for that if there are any students in need. And that is it for news, weather, traffic. I'll turn it back over to you guys to close us out.
All right. So that was SLCC Live for April 22nd, 2020. You got any last words, Zach?
I just, thanks to everybody who listened. Thanks to everybody who participated. Our producer, Porshai. Props to Alison, who at the last minute jumped on to do news, weather, and traffic. So thank you, Alison. And thanks, Denny. Great work.
Yeah. Shout out Comcast for being the worst thing like in the past 50 years. I thank you very much. I appreciate everyone that works at Comcast. Thank you for watching the show. I'm Denny. This is Zach.
Fittingly, and at the very end, we lose our main man, Denny. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week for what I believe is our last episode of the semester of SLCC Live.